All right, Mom, give me all the deets. What did you think about The Last of Us, episode 6, entitled Kin?
Might have been the best episode ever.
Oh, goodness. I feel like that this is a
I,
recurring
I,
theme
am
from
I
you
am I saying this every time?
each week.
Uh,
So, Mom, what did you think about The Last of Us this week? Might have been the best episode ever.
it was so good, though. It really was. I mean, it was super good. Th- Seeing Joel break down
Oh, God.
and the tenderness, the vulnerability. That's
Yeah.
the word I'm looking for. The vulnerability.
Yes.
That was hard for me because it's so completely different than the game.
Yeah, I don't ever recall Joel being that vulnerable. And his conversation that he had with Tommy, holy shnikes. That
Yeah.
was that was that was brutal, and just to see another human being so honest with their failings in life, and thinking about in my own personal life. We were just talking about it before we started recording. I read this book, and so I read this book, and this is Marcus Aurelius Meditations for anybody that's wondering, because you couldn't read what it was. And then I
No.
and then I have the daily Stoic 366 meditations on wisdom, perseverance, and the art of living, and I journal on a daily basis,
Mhm.
and so I'm
See, you're a good person.
yeah, you think that, but that's the thing is I'm doing all of these things in the pursuit of being able to have those honest conversations and communications with people, and
And you
yeah,
still can't do
and
it?
no, it still doesn't happen. And so to see Joel do that in the episode was such a tremendously it was painful to watch
Mhm.
in respect to Joel bearing his soul to Tommy and telling him that he has dreams of just failing and failing, and
I'm
that's
failing in my sleep.
yeah. When you say you're failing in your sleep, which I know all too well, to have those dreams, or just yeah, constantly feel like you're failing and things like that. So, whew, that
Yeah,
was
it was tough.
yeah,
And I feel like in the video game, we I mean, we didn't really get it. The only time we got that and being vulnerable
yeah,
was with Sarah in the beginning,
yeah.
and then more towards the end of the game. Again, I
Well, I
with
feel like it was in part two is when we started seeing some vulnerability to Joel.
yes,
It
yeah,
it wasn't
and which brings up a very good point.
yeah.
The the meshing of the
Oh,
part one of the game and part two, did it throw you off just a little bit?
definitely threw me
Yeah,
off. Getting to see Jackson in this
yeah.
episode was so cool. And oh my god, we talk about it just the exact same thing of like each week we think this is the best episode of the season.
Yeah.
Uh, each and every week, the set designers, the
Oh my
location
gosh.
scouts, like all the people that bring the environments to life, whoever all those different
For
people are, holy crap.
all of us gamers,
Yeah.
that what they do for us every week just blows my mind because
Yes.
I walked down those streets already time and
Yes.
time again,
Yep.
and to see it, I was just like, oh my god, it's perfect, it's spot on.
Yeah. It was incredibly amazing to see that come to life from the video game to the TV show. And I have to say, I love that they went this route. I know sometimes there's moments where they change things from the game to the TV show, and you see like the discussions and conversations where they're like, that really didn't sit very well with me. I actually
Yeah.
I prefer the way they did it in the game. I to me, I think that this is like another one of those instances where they enriched
Yeah.
the TV show experience compared to the game, because in the game you just go to the dam and that's where you meet up with
Right.
Tommy and Maria, and while it's cool because you do fight infected and all that kind of stuff, uh, and Jackson is only alluded to
Yeah.
within that scene, and it's like they're just getting the power set up and everything. It's so much, I guess, in the simplest of ways to describe it, it means so much more getting to see it and
Up
realize that that
the
exists
stakes.
in the
Yeah.
world, you know?
Right.
And there's
And
something for
they
Ellie and Joel to come back
can go.
to now.
Yeah. Yeah. That they can go back to, and how much more difficult is Tommy's decision to
Yeah.
leave
Yeah.
in the video. I mean, obviously, he didn't want to leave his wife in the game. That was a difficult decision, but he made it. But
But it was
knowing
it was
how
spur of
much
the
better.
moment though, right? Like it was more spur of the moment that he left. And you played the game way more times than me, but in the game didn't Ellie runs away, and that's the only reason why
Yeah,
Tommy has to leave and helps Joel go after her,
yeah,
right?
but they come back.
What's that?
Don't they come back?
Yeah. I mean, well,
Yeah,
they come back to the dam, I believe. I
yeah,
think. I
and
don't know. This is where it's been a while since I've played the
it
game,
has.
and I lose track of some of the things that have
Well,
happened.
they were in the middle of the conversation, and raiders came to the
Yes.
dam
Yeah.
and kind of interrupted the conversation.
Yeah.
So, but Joel obviously was not able to. He was not vulnerable. He basically
No.
made it sound like, you owe this to me,
Yes.
and
Yeah, it was no there wasn't any indication of Joel not feeling like he wouldn't be able to complete the mission
right.
at all. It was just like your ass is
We
coming
had
with me because you're my brother.
Yes, and we had to read between the lines a little bit more in the game on why he was trying to make that happen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in this episode, we see Joel keep having these panic attacks, and these attacks are induced by again his fear of failing, his constant thought that it's just going to be history repeating itself, and that the way that he lost Sarah, the way that he lost Tess, he's going to just
Hmm.
continue to keep losing these people
Yep.
in his life. And yeah, we didn't really get that in the game. I guess it was once he started becoming more attached to Ellie, he just started like whenever they had their little falling out in this moment in the game, he just became extremely distant,
Yeah.
and kind of like you're like, damn, why is Joel
Why are you
being
being
such an asshole
such
all
a
of a sudden?
yeah, just a total jackass?
Yeah, he was. It was interesting the differences that there.
Hmm.
I again I don't know if I feel like a broken record at this point, but I am a big preferer of how they're
Which I'm
doing
sure.
it in the TV show versus the game.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that is. I mean, who would have ever thought? Is that one of
no.
our biggest worries were, when before this happened, before this show started, was, oh God, please don't mess this up.
Hmm.
Don't. Yeah, I mean, gamers are hard to please.
Oh yeah, and especially when every film or TV, well, really just film adaptation, has been shite for
Yeah,
the latter part of like at this point almost 3 decades,
yeah.
going back to the Super Mario Brothers
Resident
with John
Resident Evil.
Leguizamo. Hey,
We still love those movies, though.
they're they're
We
they're
loved them.
they're
I
like
even
all.
liked the Resident Evil TV show. No
I
one
haven't
else did.
watched
I
it.
was the only person. Well, it got canceled after one
Yeah,
season, so you might as well not watch it.
it looks so god awful. I was just like,
It
you
wasn't.
know
It
what?
wasn't
I
funny.
love Resident Evil, and I can't even do this at this point. So, the one thing I wanted to bring up, and going back to the rationale between the TV show and the game, and why I prefer the TV show to the game at this point. And it's not even like that I prefer it. I'm just enjoying it
Yeah,
way
in
more
a,
than I
in a
anticipate.
different
Yeah,
way.
in a different medium. But there was something that was discussed that I thought was interesting, and it's the emotional action versus the physical action.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and how obviously in the game you get you we're getting way more physical action. In this episode, they completely cut out quite a bit of more physical
Yeah.
action in terms of gameplay that we saw. Where, I forget where they go. It's the university, but what university is it? Do you remember? I don't.
No, I don't remember, but
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't. I mean,
it looks
it.
exactly like this one.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yes, it does look exactly like this one. But for me, I don't know if I'm just if I was always this way, but I'm certainly this way now, where I really enjoy emotional action versus physical action. I completely Craig Mazin mentioned this, and I completely agree
Hmm.
with him that discussions between two people can be every bit as riveting as a fight between two people.
Oh,
And in
yeah.
this episode, we basically had, let's see, Joel and Tommy. That's like one verbal sparring fight.
Hmm.
Maria and Ellie. That was the other verbal sparring fight.
And man, can Ellie hold her
Oh,
own?
Ellie can dish it out,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
it is fantastic to watch Bella Ramsey like bring Ellie to life in that just smart
Yeah.
ass personality that she has. So that was two, and then we had the third verbal sparring fight, which was hilarious. Was at the beginning of the episode when we met Graham Greene and his wife, the two like
Oh,
folks that are like completely shut themselves off, completely cut themselves off from the rest of the world. That was hilarious, but I love
yeah.
the back and forth and how much
Yep.
of a smartass Graham Greene was.
Oh, and his wife too.
Yeah, the wife too.
Yeah.
With fireflies, we get those in the
Is
summertime.
it? Hmm.
Yeah, that was great. But again, you got at minimum. Actually, there was probably there's I would say a fourth one, and that was whenever they're at the table. Whenever Tommy and Maria bring Joel to have that first little meal that they
Yeah.
have,
Yep.
and it was very subtle the digs that Maria was putting out there to
Were
Joel.
they?
I mean,
Were
they
they?
were subtle to Joel. Definitely, Ellie did not take them as subtle
No.
because she
Nope.
was,
She was not happy about it.
yeah, she was getting quite pissed and defending
Hmm.
Joel quite a bit. But yeah, so you got like four really interesting, like verbal,
Hmm.
emotional action scenes in this episode, and I dug them every bit as much as the crazy, Kansas City, like whatever you want to call those folks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And obviously the ginormous herd or horde of infected and
Yeah.
the bloater scene. Yeah, I had just as much fun with that scene as I did with these like verbal sparring scenes. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah. I think to me, again, going back to the game, that was one of the things that was so great about the game
Mm-hmm.
is this was like one of the first times, or there's just not a whole lot of games where you get the equal parts action
Yeah.
and equal parts emotion, and
No.
we did with this game.
Uh,
So, but it doesn't. The amount of action I don't think would work
in the TV show.
in the TV show.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe it would, but
I agree. It's one of those things like with the game, it is so rare. And man, I am just because I just finished God of War Ragnarok. You finished it like a month or so ago, and yeah, now I'm like looking around. I'm like,
I
what's
spent
out there?
Saturday just going through all, because we sign
Hmm.
up for these things where we get all these games for free.
Yeah,
And I'm going through that and I'm like, no, 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 I am looking for God of War, The Last of Us.
Horizon Forbidden West,
Yes. I
and
mean,
even
it's just
Horizon's like kind of more. It's slightly more on the gamey side than
right.
God of War
Then
than
the,
The Last of
right.
Us. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's tough. Like sometimes I'm looking for a game ass game, but the majority of the time I'm looking for this
Yeah.
like amazing
Deep
narrative. Yeah, deep.
connection that I'm going to make with
Yeah,
these people, that
yeah,
I'm going to remember the ending
yeah.
forever.
For a decade.
Yeah,
afterwards.
like The Last of Us. I mean,
Yeah.
and they played music during
Mm-hmm.
the episode that that we get so much during the video game,
Yeah.
and I mean, I can just break out into tears every time they play that music. They played it, when Joel is looking across the crowd of people in Jackson,
Yeah.
and he sees a girl that looks like his daughter.
Yeah.
And he's, and I know in his head he knows that that's not Sarah, but still, I don't think when you lose someone, I don't think you ever. There's always still that little piece of hope in you
Yeah.
that they're not really gone,
Yeah.
and so you get excited.
When
You
you
see
see
them,
him.
you get excited, and he also got wistful, and he's seen the little girl that runs up to her, and that could have been his life had things gone a little bit differently. But just the music in it,
Yeah, as soon as
I
you hear
don't even know what.
that musical cue, as soon as it comes in and it's the guitar, and you're just like, oh shit. And I do love the way that they weave that in and out. They did it in the game in a beautiful way. I'm so thankful that
Yeah,
they
that they
weren't like,
kept it.
hey, you know what we should do? We should have this like really interesting like sad techno music that we play or
Yeah.
something like that.
Let's bring in somebody entirely new to do
Yeah.
the score. I mean,
Yes.
because look what we did in the game. We could make so much money off of
We could get
the
John Williams to
soundtrack.
come and do the score,
Yes,
Which again,
exactly.
I love him,
I
and
I know.
I
He does
love
some amazing stuff.
the techno stuff. I couldn't remember the name of it, but it's basically the stuff that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross they do. Because they do again,
Uh,
they do fantastic work, but and it would have been one of those things like, and they've got Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross to do the score,
yeah,
and people would have been like, oh snap, shit, but then all of us would have been like, oh no, that was
yeah,
terrible.
yeah. And maybe they were just smart and realized they didn't want to piss us all off.
Or they were like,
And
"Hey, we already got this
we have a
person
really
working
good
for
thing.
us." Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Um,
don't know if because I forget the composer's name.
Gus-
Is it
Gustavo,
Gustavo? And the last
something or
name,
another.
yeah, is difficult to
I have it
pronounce.
over there somewhere, but it's too far away for me to reach.
Yeah, no,
Um,
he is fantastic, and I hope if we get a Last of Us Part 3, they sign him up and
I'm assuming that we're going to. Are we not? I mean, isn't that already? I thought it was interesting in the after show podcast,
mm-hmm.
which HBO, if you are watching this, don't make it so fucking hard to find. It is so hard. I can find it in my podcast on my
Yeah,
phone,
yeah, on
but
Spotify.
on the HBO app, it should be
Oh.
immediately that they have a link to it right there, because you can watch it on HBO.
It is weird to me that they didn't do their podcast in a video format. It is just an
Mhm.
audio only.
Why would you not? You got these three dudes,
Yeah,
uh, you know.
it's very odd to me that they did it the way that they did.
Yeah.
I get it, in terms of Troy Baker has an amazing voice, put it in
Yes.
audio, but
Yeah, but his face is good too.
he
So,
does have a nice
um,
face. He does,
yeah,
and I know that you like Neil Druckmann's face, so
I do like Neil Druckmann's face.
so I'm sure you're quite disappointed that you only get him in those little
Oh no,
inside
it's
the
not a
episode
problem.
snippets.
When I'm watching, and then I just stare at his face over here, and his
There you,
face over.
oh,
Okay, you just
okay.
keep talking. Yeah, I'm looking at his face. Um,
I now I'm gonna picture that every single time that I listen to the recap show. My mom
yeah,
just having this picture of Neil Druckmann over
yeah.
here to the right. So
Well, I will say I'm watching so much stuff of Pedro Pascal stuff.
no, you're just going through the
I'm
catalog,
just
huh?
Yes, I
You're just
am.
like,
I
oh, I'm
mean,
gonna watch all
he's
of
so
Pedro
he's
Pascal.
so dadgum charming. He is charming. And I can't even remember what I was bringing up in the after show. I don't remember. I got you said something about Neil Druckmann, and I just like,
And then your brain just went into mush.
mm-hmm,
And
yeah,
then you added Pedro Pascal on top of it,
yeah,
and it just and
exactly,
then it went from mush
yeah.
to melt. So
But I will say this. This is totally a different subject.
yeah.
Bella Ramsey. I was looking for some stuff of hers, and she actually has. I think I sent it to you a couple of weeks ago. She
Hmm.
has a little YouTube channel that she had started during the lockdown,
Oh yeah.
and she plays a guitar and sings, and which I thought was lovely. And I hope that that she uses
I
it
mean,
some during the show.
we'll have. I mean, part two. We'll
Yeah,
definitely see it in part two.
yeah. I
Uh,
mean, I'm assuming so. Um, but she is her. It was all Christian hymns.
really
Yes,
interesting. Well,
and
where's she from? She is she
she's British,
British or okay? I wasn't sure if she was
I think.
British or if she was Scottish
I think she's.
or Irish.
I think she's British.
British.
I
Okay,
think.
gotcha.
Um, but I, they they amped up the cuss factor. Ellie does
Mhm.
not cuss like this in the game. She cusses a little bit, but every other word isn't the F word or
She drops the hammer quite a few times in this episode, and I would have to say every time it works. It's never been for me where I felt like it was too much.
Okay, I have a big old potty mouth.
You have a sailor's mouth, yes.
Yes,
You thought it was too
and so
much?
yes,
Oh wow.
um,
Okay.
not for me. Or I'm like, I want this to have a little more mass appeal. And so far, everything about this show could have even broader appeal.
Yeah.
But
But the swearing, yeah, I mean
the
that is
swearing,
the interesting thing about the game to the TV show because the game was very much mature, 17 plus, like, but
it
yeah,
was
I'm
17 plus on gore.
well, yes, no, that's what I meant. Like on, I mean,
Yeah,
just on the gore alone, there's no
yeah,
way that it wasn't gonna be rated R, basically.
right.
But they've taken so much of the gore out. I mean, even in this
Right.
episode, where at the end of the episode, Joel gets stabbed with I guess, a piece of the baseball bat, which I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, that sounds really painful.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I thought
I
it was a knife at first, and I was like, oh, okay, it's a knife, but
yeah,
no, it's like
yeah, at
a
least it's made to go in. But
yeah, yeah.
no, this is a broken pieces of a bat.
Yeah, that's brutal. But in the
Yeah.
in the game, it's like holy shit,
Yeah, because he fell from up above, like a floor up, down
Mm-hmm.
onto rebar.
Yeah,
Um, so that was wicked. It was horrible.
yeah.
Um,
Could you have
so,
imagined that in the TV show? Like that would have just been
well, do you remember
so
how much button
gross.
mashing there was to get him up
To
off
get
that
him,
rebar?
yes, I do remember that. It was it was quite a bit of
Yeah,
circle or X or
yeah.
whatever it
Squirt,
was,
squirt, squirt, squirt,
or
squirt,
square,
squirt,
yeah, or
squirt.
square, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know, but
But they definitely
I
have scaled the violence down. Like, and
yes,
I'm with you. It could if there was if Ellie swore less, which Joel told her to please mind her manners or something
and
like
she's like,
that.
"Fuck you," basically.
pretty pretty much, which I thought it was so perfect that she
It,
she's like,
it is.
nope, I'm not
I,
gonna listen
I,
to any of y'all.
yeah. Why doesn't she watch her fucking manners?
Yeah,
Is
yep.
basically,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't have a problem with it. I just, you know,
I mean, the show is never
my
gonna
super
be.
my super straight husband, you know,
Oh, okay.
I can't get him to watch it.
Gotcha. The swear words. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah,
So
that's true. I mean, thinking about my, I got my dad and my stepmom into The Walking Dead back in the day, but The
right,
Walking Dead didn't have any cuss words very often.
right.
It was very,
I mean, once a season we
yeah,
got the F word,
yeah, yeah, barely.
barely. Yeah.
Yeah, and this one it's quite a bit more mature in terms of the language
Hmm.
that everybody uses. So,
Yeah.
um,
So I mean, personally, it does not offend me. I just would like, you know, I'm. Why are you making sure?
you're just gonna have to bleep them out. You're just gonna have to
Yeah,
you're gonna have to
yeah.
record the episodes and then just go back
I
through
mean, I
and
got my little
beep
dealie here.
beep beep.
Beep 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 beep. Um, uh, shoot, I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, what did you think about Joel and Tommy, the reunion? I absolutely
Dang,
loved it.
it was it was heartfelt.
Yeah.
It was it was sweet, um, because again, game to show,
Mm-hmm.
it was much better in the show.
Yes.
Because in the game, it was kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
you owe me something, and I'm here to collect. Is
Yes.
basically how it seemed.
Yeah.
Um, when when Joel tells him that he's there to save him, and then just giggles.
Yeah. Because he's like,
I was
oh
just like,
shit, you're in like paradise, basically. I mean,
yes. I mean, and it
th-
is paradise.
yeah, they basically came up on the beach, and everybody's got mai tais and
Yeah,
and pina coladas, and they're just living the good life.
yeah,
But no, I'm with you.
yeah,
I loved how Joel screamed out Tommy's name as soon as he saw him up on the scaffold, and
yeah,
yeah, it definitely hit you in pulled all the heartstrings for
yeah.
sure. And then they embraced immediately. I did find it interesting that as soon as they embraced, Ellie was not too pleased, and she
Oh,
was
that look
quite
on her
jealous.
face.
Yeah,
Yep, she was jealous.
yeah,
Um,
she's very
you know,
protective of Joel.
she is. And I think when you have those conversations, like I think it was last week when Joel says something about, basically the things you do, that you do, you keep moving forward for
Yeah.
family.
Mm-hmm.
And, and he, she says, I'm not family. And he says, you're not, in a
No,
really ugly way.
your cargo.
Um, yeah. Mm. So, so yeah, I mean, Joel is her only person. That's
Yeah,
it. That's all she has. At the very end, and again, in the game, Ellie was sweeter, and
yeah.
at this point was still a lot more vulnerable. Um, the Ellie we get in the TV show is seems a lot more capable, a lot stronger.
She's more
Um,
hardened for sure,
she is hardened.
which makes
Um,
sense if you think about it in the context
of where they
of
keep flipping.
yeah, and like the fact that we played the Left Behind after we played part one. They wrote Left Behind after they wrote part one, and the events that happened within Left Behind would obviously like harden Ellie more.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when you look at it in hindsight, you're like, oh, it actually makes more sense that she probably would be, you know, much more hardened, much more cold, all of those things
yeah. I
compared
think
to the nice and like yeah
it's it's hard to it's hard to picture her being, as needy as she is at this point.
it's
You
true.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Just because she comes off as so hardened, but when he falls off of the horse,
yeah,
and she's saying, you can't leave me.
yeah,
Uh, when her hands are on his face, and her hands look teeny,
yeah.
and you remember he's just a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that part, you
Yeah.
know,
Oh, the her thinking that she's leaving him and she's gonna be all alone in this world where everybody else has already left her.
yeah,
Yeah, no, it was a rough ending for sure, and especially like
yeah,
thinking back to last week and where Henry and Sam, they could Henry has to commit suicide after he kills Sam, and then leaving off on this part of the episode.
yeah.
I'm like, holy crap.
Well, from the preview, next week we get the DLC.
Yeah, for Left Behind. Yeah,
Yeah,
her Ellie and Riley story,
yeah,
which will be interesting. I wanted to mention what you brought up about Ellie the fact that she comes off extremely hardened, all those things. Like she's got this tough exterior shell,
Yeah. Hmm.
but you and I both know, and I mean, I think most of the audience knows that it's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Same as Joel. You're
Right.
just cargo, brah. But it's because Joel, he hasn't had that fully transparent and honest and vulnerable conversation with Ellie to tell her that, like, how much she actually does mean to him now, and that I mean,
Hmm.
he looks at her just like that's his daughter at this point.
Yeah.
Or at least it's like he's probably like 65-70% the way there, in
Yeah.
terms of how he feels about her. And yeah, and like Ellie, she hasn't had that honest conversation. She kind of does in this episode, where like, everybody's left me, except for fucking you.
Yeah.
And so that was obviously the most honest she's been. And even then, he was still like a hard ass about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure as shit not your dad.
I I I think she would easily give in
I
to the
think
honesty
I
in a
think
heartbeat
yeah,
if he would let her.
I think so too. Which is why it's like one of those things where it's unspoken between the two of them.
Yeah.
Whenever they have that conversation, which was a fantastic, like, near one-to-one, portrayal, like it was in the video game, which was
Yeah.
so cool to see in this medium. And the fact that the next morning, whenever Tommy goes to pick her up, and she's so disappointed, and
Yes, she hears the knocking on the door and she's like, "Oh, yes, Joel's here."
yeah,
And
yeah, and
it's
it
not.
and it's Tommy.
Mm.
But yeah, I love that there was nothing that needed to be said between the two of them, and she was just so happy and so glad that it was Joel. And he's like, well, I still think you should have a choice, and you'd be better off with Tommy. And she's like, let's go. Those are backpack into his stomach. And yeah, and then from there, again, like almost, at the beginning of the episode, we're getting this wonderful back and forth between the two of them as they're learning more and more about each other, and then on their way to
Loved
the
that.
yeah, to the
Loved
university.
that.
Oh, it was so,
I
it
mean,
was so
he's telling
good.
her about football
Yeah.
and he's the contractor, which I
Everybody
thought
loves the
was
contractors.
contractor.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well,
oh.
I work for a contractor and I know it's not true.
That's yeah.
Um, I
I've
mean,
I've had
there's,
contractors
yeah,
over, and we had a lot of contractors with our coffee shop, and we
yeah,
definitely know that that's not
yeah,
true.
yeah. For me, I have discovered in the beginning part of the process,
Yeah.
they love us. Towards the end, it's not as much love.
No. They're like, when is
But
it? When is this getting done?
yes, that was the words a lot.
Yeah.
I loved all the back and forth. I loved how this seemed to be the turning point for Joel. That
Yeah.
suddenly he realized, okay, I do care about this girl,
Yes.
and so I'm gonna tell her about my life. I'm gonna tell her stuff, and I thought that was amazing. Did you the little horse?
Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you notice
Yeah, Shimmer.
Shimmer? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
They had some.
that that
They had a couple of neat little,
Easter eggs.
yeah, the little Easter eggs.
Yeah, because eventually Shimmer is Ellie's horse. So
Yeah, that was really cool. I mean, just a couple of them real quick. So the Sally Ride,
oh
astronaut
yes,
mention in this episode. It's a nod to one of like
the
the
greatest.
yeah, greatest slash toughest, sections from The Last of Us Part Two. One of our personal favorites. I know for me, I can go back to my PS4. I think, yeah, my PS4. If I had it still. I'm hoping these pictures are somewhere in the cloud, because I
Yeah.
think I took like 1,000
Oh,
photos.
I took so many pictures. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
just tons of them from that. Like, it
Oh,
was the sweetest, sweetest thing.
Yes, it was definitely the sweetest thing. So that was a really cool little Easter egg type thing.
Hmm.
Joel mentioning that he would be a sheep farmer if the world returned to normal. That's a nice another little Easter egg to the
Okay.
to the home in The Last of Us Part Two. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's right. That's right.
that's like a little bit of a deeper cut into the
Yeah.
game. And then one that is it or isn't it? Who knows? Only Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann know. But did Dina show up in this episode?
Oh, hell yes, that was Dina.
I
Come
mean,
on.
she looked pretty tall for Dina, but
But the
because
coloring was right.
yeah.
And um, I mean, I seem to remember there was a conversation
Mm-hmm.
in the second game
Yeah,
where they kind of hit on that
their
like
awkward
the
first
first time.
encounter,
Yeah.
basically.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Um,
I thought was cool. I was like, all right,
Me
all
too.
right. I mean, because
Yeah.
again, we didn't get to see Jackson in the game until part two, so I absolutely loved getting to see that. I did want to go in really quickly to comparison game to
Did you do
show.
some? Did you do some?
Well, I have it pulled
Oh,
up.
look at the shirt.
Yes, look at the shirts. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit.
Okay.
Does it zoom in?
I don't
No,
know, but I
no,
think
doesn't really zoom in anything.
even though I just played the first part
Yeah.
uh, 2 months ago when they did the remastered
Oh yeah, the
version.
remaster. Yeah. I need to. I mean, I want to go back and play it together because
Yes,
I
me
haven't
too.
finished it. I think I played the first four chapters of the remastered version. Then I was like, all right, I'm into God of War now. So
Yeah, we
I,
need to do it.
I should have beat it faster. That's for sure. But yeah, so this is obviously whenever they come upon the dam in the video game. So we just get to see it very briefly in the show,
Hmm.
but it was still really cool. And I love that they still had a nod to that section,
Yeah,
by them coming up and showing the dam, which I thought was pretty cool.
me too.
Here is Joel and Tommy meeting, or having their reunion from the
Video
game.
game Joel's beard is so much better.
Yeah, sorry,
I
Pedro. I
mean,
mean, hey, like you
Pedro, bless
said,
his.
he's charismatic. He's
Yeah,
so what did you
I
say?
mean,
Charming
he
earlier.
is extremely charming. I love him, but he can't grow a beard for shit.
No, his beard is patchy. Unfortunately,
Hmm.
so he has more of a Tommy beard. Maybe not even as much of a Tommy beard,
No,
because
he didn't have a. Yeah.
yeah, but you see, there's some wispiness in Tommy's beard.
Okay.
This is just gloriousness right here.
Yeah, it is.
Look at
It's
that.
beautiful and
Yeah, that's a
yeah.
good that's a good beard right there.
Yes.
Which I didn't notice this. Look at that ring.
Oh yeah.
Didn't catch that in the game.
No, I didn't either.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, Joel wasn't paying any attention, was
He
he?
was not. He was not very observant.
Mm.
And then let's see, they covered it up
Yeah,
here. They were
they
like,
covered it up.
"Hey,
Yeah.
hey, we're not gonna
What
give
I,
away
I
that secret too fast."
it was really interesting though. Um, Tommy did not age.
No, Tommy has not aged as much. I mean, he's aged. Like
They
he
aged a teeny tiny little bit, but Joel, they went like full on.
yeah,
Let's put a good hard. It's been 20 years, but let's give him 25.
yeah, they were like, Joel's had a hard life,
Yeah, yeah.
which again, I think
He
it's very
has had a hard life.
it's very apt because I put these in my notes that Tommy, like the interesting difference between the two of them. Tommy is always looking for a better way in life, and Joel
Yeah,
feels like that person that that grew up in a kind of a broken home or really tough like home environment, and thinks that's the only way.
yeah. Right,
That never
right.
never breaks out of it. Gets a little. I mean,
I mean,
he's a little bit better than maybe the asshole dad that came before him, but he still
yeah,
hasn't quite figured out how to move past it. So
yeah. Um, I didn't really even think about this. The fact that, I mean, we discovered that about Tommy immediately in the game as
Mm-hmm.
they're driving away,
Yes.
and Tommy wants to stop
And
for the
save
people
those
on the side of the
folks.
road.
Yep.
And Joel's like, somebody else will stop for him. Well, okay.
Yeah.
Uh, I had a really hard time with that one, although at the time I took it as okay, Joel's making the tough decisions.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because for me, I would get everybody killed
You're like,
just
just
like
all
that.
hop into the
Yeah,
vehicle with us. Let's
yeah, yeah.
go.
Come on, y'all, the hop in the back.
Yes. Which
Uh,
again,
it could have
that's
done.
I still think that that's the difference because we saw it plenty of times in The Walking Dead where you bring people into the fold that you shouldn't have brought into the fold, and when you keep everything to yourself. I mean, again, in this episode, Maria's doing exactly that. She's doing it in
Yes.
a much nicer, kinder way. But
Hmm.
as they mentioned, the fact that you've got this older couple that's out there thinking that they're just got the river of death.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I
I thought
mean,
that was pretty smart. Just throw the bodies out there.
yes.
Just, I
Oh,
mean, it's a warning sign.
exactly. I mean, that would scare the pee out of me
Hmm.
if I saw the bodies as I'm just hunting for rabbits and stuff. So yeah, there's their embrace reunion. Here is the conversation whenever Joel comes into the room. Look at that shirt. Look at that shirt.
Yeah, and look at the wallpaper.
Mm-hmm. Man, again, the they,
Uh,
this scene
they did
lasted all
so
of
good.
like I
It
don't
was
know
so short.
4 minutes in the
Yeah,
show, something like that, and all the work that went into basically bringing that.
making me happy.
Yes, they made you happy. They made me happy. Hopefully, all the video game play. Yeah, see, look at that. There's the
Hmm.
look. I mean, look at that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I
Uh,
mean, this part right here,
mm-hmm,
and she's reading that girl's diary,
mm-hmm.
and it's exactly what she says.
Oh yeah,
You know,
that
is this all they have to worry about?
that's pretty. That's when you know you did a really good job with the writing in a video game. And again,
Yeah,
10 years ago.
yeah,
I think we take it for granted sometimes, and there's been a bunch of well written video games back in the day, but that's we were getting into with Uncharted and then The Last of Us and subsequent games after that, but games that had such a lifelike quality to them
yeah.
that so you it didn't break the what is that called whenever you're basically like if you have to imagine this, that's one thing, but whenever it's literally shown to you in a way that looks just like real life, you
Yeah.
don't have to imagine it as much.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
terrible way to describe that,
No,
but
but I got where you're coming from.
yeah.
I mean, this is one of the games that I recommend to my non-gamer friends.
Yeah.
I You will become a gamer.
Yes. Agreed. Agreed. So yeah,
Agreed.
there you go. Um,
Mm.
I'm gonna type this in real quick. So apologies. Episode 6, Jackson.
Um, I got online a little bit today,
Yeah.
and Joel and his vulnerability basically came very close to breaking the internet. It
Were people pissed?
Oh no, they were just torn up
Oh,
about how sad it was and that it was just really hard to watch. And I think a lot of these people, like I said, they're not gamers. They're just people that found a show on HBO that they like. Um,
I to me, Pedro Pascal, he's
he's gonna get Emmy after Emmy after Emmy.
yeah. I feel like that the show should get some Emmys. They've done such a
I think it should
fantastic
get
job.
Oscars.
And Oscars,
That's how good. That's how good it is. It should get Oscars.
there's definitely a lot of stuff in here that or a lot of stuff that comes out that you're like, should that have
Yeah.
gotten an Oscar? I don't know about that. Um, okay, so then we got uh, here we are. We got the monkeys
Yes.
brought to life, just almost like the video game
Yeah.
monkeys,
Which
which
I
is
was really
crazy.
happy that we got the whole monkey scene.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering, that's a little more difficult to recreate
Mm-hmm.
without it being a bunch of
Like,
CGI.
yeah, lame CGI monkeys that you're
Yeah.
just like,
There was only one lame. It wasn't CGI. It, it was a tad lame though.
what was that
And
one?
that was when they're on horseback, and she's got Joel up on the horse, and she gets behind him, and they're running away from those raiders,
Yeah.
and she's turning around to shoot at him. Up until all that
Oh, yeah,
point,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
them on a horse.
Yeah.
And just in that shot from behind, I mean, it's one of those stuffed things.
Yeah, you're just like,
I was like, oh, that, the horse's head was kind of moving like this.
maybe they can go, since the show's been, kicking ass so much, maybe they can go back and post and say like, let's clean that CGI up a
Yeah,
little bit. Let's
yeah.
let's go
And it
spend
wasn't,
another
it wasn't even,
couple hundred
it wasn't
thousand.
even, it wasn't even CGI. It was just one of those
Oh, practical.
animatronics that,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, they can always fix that in
it,
CGI, I'm pretty sure.
yes, they
So,
could.
yeah.
And, everything else has been so spectacular that I even hated to bring that up, but
Well, Mom, now we know how you really feel. So,
I'm paying attention. That's all. I'm just
yeah.
paying attention.
There's the
Yeah,
shot when they're
I love that horse.
yeah, it's a beautiful horse. And there's the shot
Yeah,
from the game. Did they get the flashlight on him? They missed the flashlight.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Slightly, they don't show off the
Well, he
shirt
doesn't.
as much, and it's a
No, well,
different
he doesn't
color
have a
shirt.
backpack on either,
Yeah, that's true. Which again,
so it's okay. We'll get over
we'll
it.
allow it.
Yeah,
And then here's the scene where Ellie.
yeah, and he was about that white.
Yes, yeah. Well, here we go.
Yeah, but see the hand? That's a little kid hand. It just broke me apart.
Yeah, yeah. That was a
I
rough
was,
one.
yeah, I was like, oh,
And then I
crap.
wanted,
Now what is she gonna do?
wanted to show you this real quick. So, there's there's Jackson. And there's Jackson in the TV show.
Yeah, I mean they did. It was so amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I
good.
love and this was the mess hall, which I don't know, this picture is not coming in very well, but because there's a scene that happens in part two that you're in this area, and I was like, oh my god,
Yeah,
it looks so much like
I mean
it.
the lights.
Yeah, the lights, everything was just beautiful.
Yeah,
I remember whenever they first started showing these pictures of Jackson, and we were just like, what? Oh, and then, oh yeah, we're gonna get so many beautiful, beautiful, beautiful things in The Last of
yeah.
Us Part 2. So,
Um,
well,
so there was the mixing up, as they're doing, obviously some of this stuff is kind of, it's out of sequence a little bit for us.
yes,
And so I think some stuff gave me feelings. Just seeing Jackson gave me feelings.
yeah,
And so that part,
oh
I,
for sure,
anyway,
yeah.
yeah,
It's one of those. You're like, wait a sec, I shouldn't
yeah,
have. I shouldn't have these
yeah.
feelings. You're over here
She's
feeling
like,
like
yeah,
you're
that, yeah,
Pedro. You're like
yes.
you're Joel. Like
Am
pulling at your
I
heart.
having a heart attack or what's going on?
Yeah,
So
yeah, for sure. Well, the last thing that I wanted to say about this episode is that we really need to enjoy these moments that we get with Ellie and Joel in this episode. Um, and
Why?
well, just
What?
because,
What are you saying?
just because, like we leave off on like a really, not so good moment for Joel.
Yeah.
It's not looking good for Joel.
No. Well, and think about that. They can't go to an emergency room. She can't go to the Rite Aid
No,
and get some medicine for him. When
or
she
just
tried to,
even gauze, yeah, something. Just
yeah, when she went to put his hand, put
on.
pressure. I'm like, he's kind of passed out. He's not going to be any help.
Yeah, he's not putting any pressure on that.
Yeah, and
No.
yeah, dang.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Rough.
rough, but yeah. So we need to remember to enjoy these beautiful moments that we got in this episode because I have a feeling it's gonna be all downhill from here.
Yeah. Okay, so what would your rating be out of 10?
Oh, out of 10 for this week's episode, I would say I think I'm still gonna stick to a 9 out of 10 for this week's episode. What about you?
I'm going to go with the 10 out of 10.
Oh, was that your? That's I think. I mean, we haven't
I
been
think
officially scoring every episode, but I think that
no,
this would be your highest
I
episode.
think I've given one other 10 out of 10.
What was the other one?
Was it last week? Was it the one that I said was my favorite episode?
I mean, I feel like you've said the episode 4. You didn't consider that one of your favorites. Episode 3 was the Frank and Bill episode. Episode 2 is very quick, I believe, or maybe
Oh,
that
and
was
I
episode.
bitched.
No, that was. Yeah, you bitched in one episode,
Yeah,
quite a
just because it
bit.
was so short.
I think it was episode 2 because they did take quite a bit of changes out, and we didn't get the building of Ellie and Joel's relationship that you were
Yeah.
wanting,
Yeah.
because that did come earlier on in the game because you're out there killing
Yeah.
infected
Yeah,
and
killing time
raiders and
yeah,
Fedra
doing a
and
lot of walking
yeah,
and yeah.
yeah, lots of walking
But
and killing.
me, every week, I'm more and more impressed, I guess, is basically,
Yeah,
it's just, they're doing such an amazing job.
I agree. I agree. Well, Mom, it was fun
It
chatting
was
about
fun.
episode 6. Next week we get episode 7 entitled Left Behind. That one's gonna
What?
be
Oh, it is the name of that. Yeah.
oh
Okay.
yeah, there it's the name of the episode and it's coming. So I have a feeling we're not gonna get resolution on what happens to Joel in next week's episode. I think that'll come in episode 8, and then we'll have the season
The
finale.
penultimate
Yes,
episode.
the penultimate, indeed. So, all right.
Bye. Thanks for watching.